Hey guys, Theo here. Today I'm going to be taking you on a machine learning tutorial with Microsoft Azure. Now, first of all, Microsoft Azure is a cloud computing service that is hosted by Microsoft and provides softwares, platforms, and infrastructures as services. Now, they have some services like compute, analytics, networking, storage, machine learning, web services, and even the Internet of Things. Now, before you create a cloud account on Azure, you need an Outlook account. So make sure you create that. Now, onto the Microsoft Machine Learning Studio on Azure, we have the project section, which basically contains all your projects. And by projects, I mean a collection of programs and all that you use them for. Then we have the experiments section, which is a place where all your programs are being stored. Now we have your web services section. Here are the web services which you can deploy from your models and your machine learning projects, so they can be accessible to anyone in the world. Now we have the notebook section, which typically is where you write and edit your code, but we're not going to be using any of this. Now we have the dataset section. Here, the dataset section contains your datasets uploaded or referenced, and you have some samples here provided by Microsoft. Those are really amazing datasets because it's really hard to find the right dataset, but thanks to Microsoft Azure. Now we have the train models section, which houses all your train models. That's basically the outcomes of all your projects. So now onto the settings section, we have the basic information about your workspace. The machine learning studio space for your account is called a workspace, and here in settings you have your memory allocation and the access granting features and stuff, authorization tools. Now back to the projects. Experiments are the same thing as programs, so don't get confused. Now we're going to be creating a blank experiment, so yeah, we're going to zoom out a bit. So now we're going to name our experiment. Like I said, experiments are programs, and this program is for income prediction. We're going to be predicting incomes of people with basic info about them, like their age, their work class, and their educational standards and stuff like that. So first of all, we need to find the data set. So to create a model, you need data sets, and it's necessary for you to pick the most appropriate one for your project. So here we have we have the adult census income binary classification dataset. This seems pretty suited for what we want, so we drag it in, zoom in a bit. Now here talks about your components. This section is called your component section, while here is called the properties section. So basically, the components house what you can use in the workspace, and your properties are things about them. Then we have the canvas in the middle, where your drag and drop experiments are performed. So now we have a data set. We find a way to visualize it at first. So now we can see it's pretty dense. We have 32,561 rows representing people and 15 columns. These basically are dimensions of those people, their information about them, their age, work class, educational standard, and stuff like that. Okay, now before we do this, before we create a model, we need to isolate some columns that we're going to be working on because it's a pretty large data set. So we go to select columns in dataset, and we drag it in, and then connect our datasets to it, and it shows an error. So we're going to go to the launch column selector and select the columns we're going to be working with. Now we're making a model to predict income, so we're going to need data that helps us make accurate predictions about some person's income. So we have the age, the work class, we also have their educational standards, and the occupation of the person. That's pretty crucial actually. And now we need some other information like their race, their gender or sex, and their native country, and lastly the income. Don't forget that. So after selecting this, click OK and it should be good. Now next up, we're gonna look for a way to split our data. Alright, we need to split our data into training and testing for the model to train on and finally test. So we'll go to split data, just type in whatever you want, just type it in the component section. So we have the split data. It takes the output node of our select colon option, and here we're going to specify the percentage. Now it's advisable for us to use 80 to 20% for training versus testing, and here I'm going to be using 85% just to spice it up a bit. So we'll put 85% and automatically the rest goes for the testing. Now we're done with splitting data. We need to find the best model for our problem. Now to do this, we search for models, and yeah, we have some basic classification models. Mind you, this is a classification problem, so there are gonna be some models here, but I'm thinking of going with the 2-class boosted decision tree model. It's an amazing algorithm and it's known for getting high accuracy. So yep, you can read about that later. So we have the 2-class boosted decision tree. It basically works by boosting your accuracy from the various nodes. Okay, so now we're gonna look for the option of training that model. Now we need to train it and test it. So first we'll type train model. Yep, we're gonna type train model, and then yep, alright, found it. This should be this, yeah, under machine learning. Now the first input is the model and the second is the training data, so be careful with that. So you have to drag it in. Oh, this is terrible. Drag it into the train model, and yep, it has an error. So here the error is we need to specify a column to train on. Now for the sake of time, I'm not going to delve into the process of machine learning and writing codes for it, but you need to specify the column you're training on. It's necessary. Okay, now we move forward to scoring the model. This is basically your testing section where you can take the data learned from the inference from the trained data and test it on the untouched data, the one that doesn't know. Basically, machine learning is about making predictions, so it's just gonna make educated guesses, I think. So yeah, I think we're almost done now. Now we need a way to evaluate our model to know if it's doing good or not. So this is very important, and the first node for the evaluate model option takes in the score model output. And now we're not comparing it with any other model, so it's just that. Now we go to run. Okay, now you can see this is a cloud-based solution. It's pretty fast, and thanks to Microsoft, because man, I have worked on some machine learning problems and this is way faster than anything I've worked with a data set like this. So now it's done. We can visualize. Just right click and visualize. So visualizing just means seeing how it performed. Now you can see the graph, and okay, wow, we have an accuracy of about 80.7%. That is pretty genius, don't you think? I know it's not so amazing, but it's cool. At least above 70% is cool. So now it's a classification problem. The dataset classifies income into two labels. So the first label is above 50k, and the second is at 50k and below 50k. So now the false positive talks about the wrong guesses on the positive label, that is wrong guesses on those above 50k, and yep, the true positive is the one that gets correctly. Now the true negative talks about the ones that predicted accurately below 50k and on 50k, while the false is the converse. Now, yeah, I'm gonna give you the formula, this particular formula for calculating this accuracy. So, yep, that's the formula. Now, what we're gonna do next. So, when you have something like this, you might want to deploy it for consumers. Maybe you want to access it remotely or access it using the web service. So you're going to create a web service using this model. What it basically does is modifies the algorithm to take web inputs, and yeah, the web service input and output nodes are there. So we're going to connect the web service input to the same channel that the test data goes through. So basically, it's not gonna be going through training again because it doesn't know what you're asking it to do. It's only gonna make predictions about the data you give it. So what it does, basically, you have to connect the web service input node, or output node actually, to the input of the score model. Yeah, see, that changes it a bit, and yeah, we're ready to go. So our web service is ready. You're gonna use the API key to make calls to it and get your data. So watch out, guys. This is really good for the Internet of Things and stuff like that. Okay, so now we're gonna train it. We're gonna run it. Sorry. Yep. So it makes that nice and easy. And yep, we're gonna deploy it as a web service. Okay. So this is a predictive experiment, and here we're gonna enter some basic information about a person that we wanna predict their income and see what happens. Let's say a man of about 25 years old and a government worker, and he's currently having a bachelor's degree, and okay, he works as an engineer. Yeah, and he's a white man. I don't want to use a black. He's white. So yeah, we have the male. Of course he's male and he's from Nigeria. So let's go ahead and run this. Close your eyes. It's gonna get really spooky right now. I'm just kidding. Okay, so we have all our data. You can still add more dimensions of data for the person or in the training. So yep, it's done with the prediction. We see we have that is less than or equal to 50k. Wow, that's good for a white person. Okay, so yeah, we made our first prediction over the internet. Now this is cool. With this API key, you can embed it in your applications and do whatever you want with it. So here, guys, this is it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more amazing content. I'll see you guys in the next video.